All right, welcome everyone to the Sagittarius new moon. We're starting our new moon chat. And to begin in our circle, I want to do a quick introduction. So my name is Ember Tyler, and joining us also is Kathy. We have Christine here as well. And I have to send a link real quick. Just a moment. So some housekeeping. Hi, there she is. There's Christine. So just some housekeeping. It is really easy to chat. You just go to the bottom bar and you can chat to the side. If you hit the chat bar, you can chat to everyone, the entire group. You can chat to individuals within the call. And I am doing some invitations real quick to get us started. So
all right, you want me to jump in with my card that I just drew?
that would be great.
Wouldn't that be great? Okay. So what I did was I just simply took a moment to go to my Sacred Geometry deck and choose a card for the month that I will focus on, and possibly anybody in the group if you feel comfortable to do it. And what came up for me, and I've got goosebumps now as I'm talking about it, it's the frequency card. Can you see it okay? There's the
yes.
frequency, and then there's the
Oh, it looks like a dragonfly.
it does, doesn't it? Yeah, and so there's the coordinates for it. And so the message is the energy of frequency helps you remain within your own energy. Quite often we conform ourselves to others, thus raising or lowering ourselves to a frequency that isn't ours. By proclaiming your truth with love, you will start processes that may influence others. More unity will be visible. So I think this is a really awesome card, especially for perception this month. And sorry about the background noise.
Oh, that's okay.
But yeah, to go with our perception this month, like to take where the messages that sometimes we take on other people's frequencies. And so just to stay true to yourself and always lead with love.
That's nice. That's perfect. That's a great start.
It is,
Yes,
isn't it?
thank you for sharing that. All right, I want to light a candle to get us settled and to begin our ritual. So with this candle, let this flame represent the wild spirit which burns within each of us. And as we awaken our own wild spirit, we awaken the collective spirit. All right, so welcome everyone. This new moon, not only is the sun in Sagittarius, but our new moon is in Sagittarius as well. And the height, the peak of this new moon is 2:21 a.m. tomorrow morning, the 7th. We're on the 6th today, so the 7th of December, 2:21 a.m. Now, let's just take, before we start into our intention and get truly into our call, let's just take a moment, take a few deep breaths just to help center ourselves. I know once we have gone through our day and there's so much going on in the hustle and bustle of our day, just to help us come together, just take 5 or 6 calming breaths to join us together. To help us be present in this moment and all of these beautiful spirits that are coming together and working together as we join our energies and raise our own frequencies. Let's take one or two more deep cleansing breaths just to focus ourselves. All of the jumbo of the day in our heads come down to our hearts. We open our hearts. We be respectful, be true, be authentic, and leave all judgment at the door behind us. This is a safe space where we can all share and be together. Wonderful. Now, perception. Here we go. This is perception. Perception of the new moon. This entire month, we're going to focus on perception. Now, in the new moon, what we do is look in the shadows, look in the darkness, uncover every aspect of this and sit with it. We meditate with this. We sit in a quiet space with this topic, with this intention, and figure out what it is we want out of this. Here's where we're going to set our intention for the entire month of what perception means to us personally. And I love the idea of the perception, the ability to see, use our senses. As all of this comes in many different facets, whatever our perception is how we see and view the world, our perspective in the world. It's almost like a prism to our reality. And we get to paint that prism. We get to utilize the colors that we want. We get to use our senses to figure out exactly what our creative world is going to be about. So just to start us off on a teeny visualization that I've been thinking about. I ran across this. It's a really interesting, and I'll put the link below where this came from, but it was a really interesting look into perception. And think of this just for a moment as we're nice and calm right now and just settling in. Think about you're in a home. You're walking down a corridor. And at the end of this long corridor, you see two dogs. You see one dog that is growling and angry. You see this dog walk into a room. He stays in that room and just comes out vicious and angry and mad. But then you see another dog coming from a different location. This dog running along, floppy ears, wagging tail, happy dog, walks into the room. He stays in there for a few moments and he comes out happy as can be, wagging his tail just like he went in. So curiosity has you. You have to see what is in this room. How did this dog come out meaner than he went in? And this other dog comes out happier than he went in. How does that make any sense? What is going on in this room? So you walk down the corridor. You open the door. And this room is nothing but mirrors. The ceiling, the floor, every wall is nothing but a mirror. The dog was mirroring itself. This is our look into perception. This is how we create our reality. So, in going into this, I always like to start with what I call the socks. So we have an entire month to think about perception and look at it from every angle. But there are several different modalities that we can use to get us there. Things that interest us. Some of this may interest us, some of this may not. But what we're going to do is go through all of these different options of perception, and we're going to take what works for us and leave the rest. And maybe we'll play with different ones throughout the month. I did share this. I shared this in the email, and this is also posted in social media, and I'm happy to share this again after the call. But we'll start with the moon cycle. Now, the new moon is the best time to always focus on our perception. And remember, our perspective comes from our perception. All right, Wednesdays are a really great day. I know it's Thursday now, but think of that, put that on your calendar. For an example, you could use it, and you guys jump in at any time that you want. You can unmute yourself and jump in at any time as we take these modalities, these what I'm calling SOCs, the systems of correspondences. These are just different modalities that we can use that are connected to perception. So jump in and give us some really good ideas if one pops in, if something pops in you want to utilize and share with the group. So this is something you could put on your calendar if on Wednesdays you've utilized some time to actually sit in peace in meditation with yourself and focus on what has come about in this past week, so you can utilize that time for a different viewpoint. The mantra for perception: I am able to discern the good from what pulls my spirit down, because I use my intelligence and intuition to light my way forward. The colors of perception. Really what we're doing is taking the third eye chakra and we're looking at through different lenses. So the color of perception will be indigo and is also black, because you're taking in all colors. The stone for perception, got several good options here: lapis lazuli, sapphire, crystal quartz. The essential oils: rosemary, frankincense, and patchouli. 5 and 6 are the numbers. So even already, as we kicked off, we took 5 or 6 breaths in the beginning. 5 or 6, that's going to be our number. This is really a fire element, and also utilizing water. We're going to focus more on fire throughout the first aspect, from the new moon to the full moon is more of fire. We're going to use the fire of Sagittarius. But consider water too, because we're flowing and we're cleansing as we're going through a perspective change, as we wash away old habits, old beliefs, we'll get to that. And gold and silver are the metals, which is perfect for this holiday season. We're going to be surrounded with gold and silver in decorating and bringing this decorations into our home. We can use the gold and the silver metals as intentional items for the month. The animals: salmon, snakes. I love the shedding of the skin. The spawning, the jumping, the change of the salmon. Foods: tea, almonds, figs, salmon. And I threw a couple of extras in there. The eagle pose for yoga is a wonderful is a wonderful pose for perception. Also, velvet. And I love that this time of year as well. Just the richness and the fullness of velvet and the different looks that it gives under different light, different perceptions. All right, I'm done rambling. Let's talk. Let's join. Let's open up the circle and yeah.
Okay, I love that. And actually, what I was thinking about too was with the like you were talking about decorating, because my tree is mostly red and gold. And so I was thinking like the fire element, like that is totally
Oh, red and gold, yeah.
very much. So that's when you said that, I was like, because that's what I just kept pulling in was, and it does feel very fierce, like just like, yeah, be on fire would be a good explanation of it. And I wasn't even going to put up a tree and decided to kind of at the last minute. And so went with a little bit different than what I've had in the past. And it looks amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's cool. And I love the velvet. Yeah, all of these are really good. I think this is a good way to explain it and to put it out there. Will you say the mantra again?
Yes.
If you have it handy.
I am able to discern the good from what pulls my spirit down because I use my intelligence and intuition to light my way forward.
Yeah, that feels really good.
Something about that when I found that, it was taking like all of the old thought processes of things that were taught, things that were learned in school, in books, and things that just never quite felt right or seemed right, and believing them to be true, and just going through your childhood and like all of these old beliefs that it's time to shed them. It's time to move past that. And all of those beliefs help form our perspective on life. So taking that into a different perspective of it's formed who we are, which is wonderful. I take into account that, I everything that we've learned has formed our being at this moment. But it doesn't need to stay that way forever. As we grow, we see things, and we change our viewpoints, and need to change our viewpoints to reflect our world.
Yeah, we're all evolving. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But yeah, it feels very evolutionist, like just that evolving.
Yeah. And to change our current reality, if there's an intention to make a change and to grow spiritually and nourish our souls and to grow in any aspect of our life, we really need to make sure we change our viewpoint so our reality will change. Our perspective will change.
Yeah, I like that. I like it is, I guess, a lesson I learned probably a couple of years ago was like managing expectations. So that's very much perception, the whole managing expectations, because, just exactly what you said, all of our childhood, everything that's put us to the point we are today leads us to an expectation in life. And yet so many times when we have it set at one way, then that leads to disappointment. Because we've put this expectation at whatever level, and then yet when we're not met, then how we choose to deal with that can determine a lot in life and how you move forward. Because some people it crushes. If their expectations aren't met, then it's like, oh well, do I even try anymore, or how does that work? And so So I think that's a valuable lesson that goes along with perception, just to figure out what it is where you need to change, where you need to grow, and where you need to let things go so that you can be the best person you can be and be the most available to grow. Because, we all have limiting beliefs or have had them. And that doesn't need to be. Like, now we've evolved so much that, or we're in the evolution that that we can really have the world that we want to live in. And it's simply a matter of perception. Just like your analogy with the mirrors.
Yeah. And looking in the shadows right now, the shadows and the meditative aspect of the new moon, I really think that it's interesting that a lot of times we don't know what's holding us back. We don't know why our viewpoint is that way. Little things of, whether it was religious beliefs or a teacher in school told you something that you internalized of something you can't accomplish, or something that occurred that made you feel as though you're not good enough, or a competitive aspect that never quite resonated with you. Or there's so many different, or speaking of cards, money. That's such a, it's such a huge one for everyone. And I don't know if you guys can see this well. I'll try to do it. This is the card that I pulled this morning. And I know it's hard to see with all the shadows. It is beautiful. I'll take a photo of it and add it as well. It's helping a little bit, but it's kind of like the yin and the yang of the koi around the money. But
nice.
It's about, money, finances, power, generosity, abundance. So not necessarily the dollar amount, but everything around that: prosperity, abundance, so many different aspects of that, that really affects our everyday life and our goals and our dreams and how we see the world and how we interpret our reality. But even if it is just money, and it kind of is for me in a way, that's what I'm going to set personally. And I ask all of us to make a intention about this. Oh, hang on. I got fun chats to read. Oh, good, good. Let things go and let yourself grow, giving way to ease rather than disease. That is beautiful. I hope to meet your mom one day. She's amazing. That's awesome. That's beautiful. Say thank you.
You will meet her. You're so sweet, kid.
That's really sweet. That's perfect.
Yes. Just from listening to you all, it came to her heart, and it had a lot to do with what we went through today with Reiki. So it's been nice listening to your beautiful talk.
Oh, good.
Empowering.
Let's see. We've got another. So Jenny, Jenny's sharing with us that I was just reminded by my 6-year-old as we start our gingerbread construction that I can't be disappointed if it's not perfect. Seeking happiness from shifting perception away from perfection, which is my default. Oh my gosh. A 6-year-old. They're wonderful teachers, that children are such amazing teachers. And this is when we start kind of carving their perception, sharing our colors with them. And sometimes it works well, sometimes it does not, but that's all part of life. This has been going on since women have been giving birth to children. That's just the way it goes. But that's beautiful. Gingerbread construction, huh? That's fun. All right. So the Sagittarius, I said the sun and the moon is in Sagittarius right now. And the moon remains in Sagittarius until we move out of the new moon phase. So we've got a little bit of time to sit here. We've got a day and a half to sit here. But I love that we're going to spend another couple of weeks with the sun in Sagittarius and this topic. And just think of the archer. All right. So we have the archer, who is nothing but adventurous and is into luck and travel and focused. And to be able to use that, like the dynamic action the energy that they represent, is going to be really interesting, because once we sit in this few days of meditation, maybe up to a week, however long we need, into meditation and contemplation of what perception means to us and what we want out of it, that knowledge, that tagline for a Sagittarius of I see this, and I shoot it. I aim, I shoot, and I hit the target. So I love like the exploration and the adventurous of this. So yes, as the new moon, and we're just going to sit in it for a while. But what we've got to do now is really sit down and set our intentions. And if we just want to take a moment to think about, and if anybody has questions, let's take care of that right now too. But just take a moment and think about, in this entire month of perception, and how you want your perception, how you see things, how they come into you, and how that creates your reality, your perspective. What do we want to change? What do we want to do? What do we want to enhance? Maybe it's not even changing. Maybe it's just enhancing something so it gets us to our next goal. Let's just sit with the moment of, and please share if anybody would like to share what their intention is for this month. So our perception, don't want to interrupt anyone's thinking, but I will keep throwing some inspiration, I hope, out there. Our perception, our way of regarding or understanding or interpreting something, kind of a mental impression, and utilizing all of our senses. Our mind's eye, and how we take our mind's eye and reflect it out to the world. With drawing the card, which I've misplaced, there it is. With drawing this card today, it really helped me hone in on what the intention of the month is going to be for me personally. That it's time to move past, and I wrote it down, so it's time to move past any limited views or beliefs about abundance and prosperity, and to allow more positive expression of this energy in my life.
I like that, actually. And I've been working on that one for probably all year, actually, with the increasing abundance. And so I think with my frequency card that I just drew, that I will enhance all that I've been creating, especially in the past few months, and growing my my knowledge base and actually implementing it, and just raising my vibration and attracting, which is not, I guess, a good intention, but I'll get it settled down. But I'm like, but that's it, like really focusing on still my personal growth, and where I can fill in the little pieces that I still feel like I need to soften up or smooth out, or whatever a good analogy for that would be, but just to feel really complete. So big step. I got my blog up today, so that's super happy. I know, like this has been 5 years in the making. so it's like, that is a really big deal. It doesn't sound.
Congratulations. Please share in the
All
chat.
right, thank you. Yeah. Well, there's nothing on it yet, but eventually, like I'm thinking tomorrow will be, maybe tonight, but yeah, like that's a big deal. But
That's a
really,
big step.
yes, it is, to give my voice, because that's all I've been wanting to do forever, is to share it in a good way. And so yeah, moving forward with that. And so the perception, so really focusing on kind of what I was talking about, managing expectations. So I still, have that view, but the perception of that it will be a beautiful thing, and that I know my voice needs to be heard. And so that my message is heard clearly would be a good intention for this month for perception.
Beautiful. Even Jenny says, yay, Kathy. A couple of things I wrote down about Sagittarius energy that I wanted us to discuss is two takeaways that I think about when I consider the energy of a Sagittarius, and that is, and I've already mentioned it, but I want to talk about it. That is travel and luck. And when I wrote them down, this was like a week ago, just preparing and thinking and putting all of this together, there was something that really stuck about both of them. And one is Monique, which is on here. She's listening. I don't think she's in talk mode, but she's listening. I do see her on here. But that is about luck. And we've done a topic on this before, on luck. We've had that as our intention, but luck is where preparation meets opportunity. That's all it is. So, and that really stuck out when I was thinking that Sagittarius energy is like, it's time to hone in on that again. How prepared am I? I feel I am, I think I am. And that travel aspect of Sagittarius energy that stuck with me a little, became a little sticky in my thoughts. A lot of it was conversation about travel plans, several different travel plans, or working together in retreat and goals and focuses of the future. And travel being not necessarily even physical travel, just mental travel or virtual travel, or different ways that we can even look back to the perception, different ways we can look at what travel means to us, astral travel. It's really kind of, I don't know, please, I want someone else to tell me what they're thinking about that, but that has really, really kind of been a little sticky for me lately. Let's see. Christine says, my intention for the month is being more aware of any disconnections or imbalances in my life and addressing them to help smooth things out, as Kathy put it as well. Nice.
Perfect time to do it as well at the end of the year. Like I think, like I'm thinking about this being like the last hurrah of, which is not, it's just, I think it's just the beginning, but it's all our perception about this. Like,
yeah, well, it goes back to the snake, the animal, the snake was shedding a skin.
Yes. Yeah. So that's cool. Cause I have been thinking about that. Cause it's like, cause I just closed out, last month, and with my intention book, and just being able to focus on that and trying to like close that out, and what's my message for this next month, and to see, and it came up, something new. It's always the new moon, so new time, new cycle, and it just feels really, really good. So about your sticky travel plans, you got to tell us more about that. Give us more information.
Well, it's coming. I don't know. It's still coming. I'm not sure.
Okay. We were asking for feedback, so I'm like, we need to know more.
Well, okay. So a couple of things, like there's a couple of things on my brain, and one of them is Costa Rica in the spring. That's all I got so far, spring. And preparing everything that that a group of beautiful women want to share and experience, and the excitement of anyone that I talk with about it, the excitement behind it, and what it can mean and what it's starting to look like. And so yes, travel in that regard. Travel in, I spend a lot of time in the car traveling now with my job. So travel in this mental state of utilizing that time as meditation, as growth, as going on internal journeys, and using that more logically to help form my perception. And not just, what I'm saying there is not just listen to silly books on tape. And yes, I love all books on audio books are amazing. And, but being more intentional about what they need to be. And then back to the astral travel, meaning my meditations sometimes do really well. I go to other places. Sometimes I can go exactly where I need to go, want to go. And sometimes it's always a surprise, and I'm very open to those surprises and want more of that. So that type of travel. But then also, like, all the sticky parts, like what we're doing right now is travel. We're traveling into each other's living room, offices, kitchens, cars, wherever it's this group of virtual group traveling with the same intentions or similar intentions, focused on the similar intentions.
Okay,
Those are my sticky thoughts.
So I guess I need definition on sticky thought. Like, what does that mean to you?
Things that keep coming up in my mind, in my head, that when I think of a Sagittarius energy and how to utilize it, that's what keeps coming up, of travel, movement. That's what I mean, sticky. Like.
Okay, that makes more sense, because I'm not getting the connection there. So
yeah.
But it's time. Yeah, exactly. Because especially like just utilizing this platform, like that's huge. And like to have it be so effortlessly too, especially after all of this in the past, all the issues that we've had, like, yeah. So now we can just make our lives whatever we want them to be, basically. We can write whatever it is that we want. So maybe make that intention, like the astral travel, more of an intention to see if you can do that a little bit more. I mean, like, seriously make that an intention, because obviously you really like it. It feels good to you, and maybe you're getting more answers there, but that would be a great place to be.
Utilizing that source again, this being the third eye, a month of focusing on the third eye chakra. Yeah. Jenny says, I've been traveling more than the high amount I usually travel, and suddenly felt overwhelmed by a need to be closer to home. I shifted my schedule priorities for January to be grounded more. I feel like I have absorbed a year's worth of lessons from being constantly en route. So I am sticky about staying in place for a bit. Wow. That's, yeah. And that's connected to the travel as well. I mean, that's coming from someone that travels a lot, feeling that need to be grounded. A change of perception. Yeah.
So I know that technically we don't always offer suggestions, but maybe something to do until January is maybe carry a stone with you or some type of something that can make you feel more grounded. Because if you're like, it seems like you're pretty passionate about this right now, but that's what I think that could be a really good benefit for you, Jenny, to actually, I don't know if you like to carry crystals or if that's an option, but some good grounding could really make a difference. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I like that. I carry a stone in
What-
my pocket. Oh, yeah, perfect. Okay.
What kind of stone?
All right,
So
Jenny.
what kind of stone are you carrying? Sorry. A crystal. So make it more like what would you suggest, Kim? A pointed crystal. Yeah, you need to.
I think that's great. Yeah, crystal quartz
Okay.
would be great. The other two options, because that
thinking
is one of the perception that we have for the month, and that is sapphire and lapis would be the other two options. But if you're already doing the crystal quartz, that's wonderful. Just be intentional about it now with this thought, this different perception, this grounding. Yes.
Yeah, that feels good. That feels really good.
So I wanted to speak on your point, Kim, about Costa Rica.
Mm-hmm.
So today I had this beautiful encounter at the center that we were at. And I don't know if you've heard of this place called the Center for Love and Light in Decatur.
I have heard of it. I haven't been there, but I've heard about it.
Yes, it's so beautiful. And I immediately thought of you when I was in there. So I was asking everyone if they knew you. So I was like, we need to connect with your circle of women, because they have people there's a medium there, and then they have the Reiki practitioners, and they have another girl who leads women's circles as well. And I started talking with one of the Reiki practitioners about Costa Rica, and she was just kind of like, this is exactly what I'm looking for right now. She's also designing and starting to lead international retreats, and it's kind of all in her mind right now, but she's, putting it on paper, and she's like, well, we should connect. I mean, who knows if, we can make something out of it. So I keep thinking back about what you're talking about now, how we have it in our mind, but I think all the pieces will start to be put together in the most perfect way, and the, I don't know, unexpected ways as we get closer. So I just thought it was a beautiful moment, and I want to connect you all with that center.
Yes. Thank you. That's beautiful. That's perfect. That's what I was talking about. Like the moment that we verbalize it, outside of our own circle,
and outside of our heads,
that things start to happen.
Exactly. And I think it's so important to always speak up, verbalize it, like you said, put it into our auras, and then from there it'll take care of itself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially working with the collective energy right now too, like that. Like I can feel it. Yeah,
I agree. Mm-hmm. And a lot of what was said today, because I took part in the first half of like the talking session with my mom, and a lot of it, what was said was so completely new to my mom, and now she's like, wow, this is like a whole new world, and I feel just completely relieved, and I feel like I'm being awakened, and that's what her practice is called, Awaken Ananda. And so she's like, this is insane. I want to learn more about it. So it was beautiful for me to see that on the outside as well, her transformation.
How perfect that is for the intention for this month. That is what she's going through.
Exactly. That is
a different perception.
Different perception, a different reality, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
So I got a question. Is that something she's been wanting to do for a while, or was this just something you suggested to her to do today?
No, it was actually something I suggested. I had bought it for her birthday, this session, because she has had this awful pinched nerve for the past 3 months. And it's changed a lot with not only physical, but also mentally, and I think she's just been getting overwhelmed with the pain. And so I thought, well, she didn't know really anything about Reiki. And I was telling Kim, learning more about it and just really interested in it. I'd never done it before myself, but I've been really interested in learning about it and doing some sort of workshop or something. And so I started Googling places in Atlanta because I was coming home for the holidays. And that's when I found her in that center. And my mom was like, well, what's Reiki? So I kind of talked to her about it. And I was telling Kim I did it a little bit on her before we went, just from what I've been learning. I'm not a practitioner or anything, but she was like, it really has helped. And it was amazing after leaving that session. So she's had kind of the pain ease in and out, but this morning she woke up with just a higher level of pain than normal because we had been working all day on the computer, and that basically, I think, caused the pain, that pinched nerve, being on the computer too many hours. And so leaving that session, she was like, you wouldn't believe this, Christine, but I don't feel that pain. Like I could feel her actually removing it through her energy towards this last half of the session. And she was just like, this is insane. Like, I can't believe I'm not feeling it right now. She could really feel a transformation, and she was just in shock and awe. So that to me almost made me cry. It was beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And like you said, what a perfect situation and opportunity in this month's intention.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful gift for her.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
the gift of healing plus the gift of opening her mind to something new.
To something new. Exactly. Yeah. And so when we got in the car, she was like, I just feel like I have to go home and meditate. And I'd never heard her say that before. I was like, yes, let's go do that.
Did you do that together?
Yes, we did. And then we journaled. I was like, Mom, you need to start journaling and write about what you're feeling. And so she's really taking it all in. So I'm proud of her.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
I will
wonderful.
introduce you all to her right now. She's in the kitchen cooking with my dad. So he just got home.
Well, let's see. Any topics that we haven't covered that we need to? Let me look through, see if we've covered everything. I know I want to okay, let me get your opinions on this. I ran across something that was talking about different perceptions, and probably in a different way than we're talking about it. It was more of a analytical aspect of perception. So I want to see it viewed from all angles. So I took it in, and I want to share what they're considering. This comes from a psychology essay that I pulled that is over in the UK, and I can share this with you if it's of any interest. But it's more of an analytical aspect of it. And there are 5 stages of perception: stimulation, organization, interpretation and evaluation as one. That is one. Interpretation and valuation, memory, and recall. All right, I want to repeat them again. The first one is stimulation. The second is organization. The third is interpretation and evaluation together. And then memory, and then recall.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the article then, and why they're saying this is perception. Is it, or this is what we use to measure perception?
These are stages, the 5 stages of perception, and what is needed to go through these 5 steps or 5 stages to change any perception. So when I first looked at it, I'm like, bullshit. All right, no. But I kept coming back to it, it wasn't sticky, but I kept coming back to it. I saved it and I'd gloss over it over the last week or so. And then in a meditation, it was coming to me in a different perspective. Meaning we really do kind of do this if you think about it. All right. So like stimulation, something has to catch your attention to even make a change in your mind. Because otherwise we just go through life. We see things as we see them. That's our viewpoint. That's the way it is. It takes something to spark interest to make a change or to realize there might be another way of looking at it. Organization. I think that's the one that I didn't get at first, but the organization part of it is you have to compartmentalize it in your brain. Yeah, like where it fits in your brain. Then the interpretation and evaluation. So you really have to, at that point, take in, what is your perspective of it, where it came from, which kind of goes over into memory, but really trying to work through how we see it through that lens. Hi, Dharma. How we see through that lens. And then the memory. So a lot of it is, and we touched on this before, that is, we get so much of our perspective from our childhood. So memory recall. And then, and then memory recall. So I don't know, what's your interpretation of all this?
The first, maybe not the first thing that came to mind, but like very quickly was managing expectations. This is everything that you had, I went through to whenever I was talking about managing expectations, like something stimulated that thought of, oh my gosh, I keep getting disappointed because I have these expectations. And it's all about my perception, because I had a perception of what I was expecting, and it may have been told to me or whatever, and then that stimulated the process of, okay, where now I got to compartmentalize and figure out how I'm going to put this, where's the box it's going into, and then the interpretation evaluation. And yeah, I just think like that's when you were talking about it, I was like, that's what that is. Managing expectations and my perception of whatever it is that's going to happen. So that's my motto of let go and let God. Like, I'm just like, make it a blanket, like just put it over there. Make it so that it's, for me anyway, it makes it easier, I guess, because I think, especially as a mom and when you have children, that you have to, it definitely changes the way that you think about things, because there's so much that you can't control, and so you have to lose control, and sometimes that's hard, especially if you don't think you're a controlling person, but you might really be a controlling person or have a little bit of a controlling person in you. So just going back to that and just thinking that you can make your world whatever it is that you want to, but just to keep in mind that to manage your expectations. Did that make sense at all?
Yeah. Okay. So what you're saying is, if we keep making, if we set a goal, if we set an intention and we keep struggling with it and it keeps going, you're saying that it's probably coming from some old expectation that you're working through.
Could be. Yeah. That's a great way to say that. And so maybe shift your perception, and like I said, like simply just let go and let God would be a good way for me to think of it. And just because I do think a lot of it is about control. So much of our life is about control.
I love that. Let go and let God. That's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. It makes it easy. I mean, it really just, or takes the pressure off. Maybe it doesn't make
The
it easy,
pressure.
but it takes the pressure off. And I think, everybody, especially because we have this communication, like we're sitting in each other's offices or living rooms, and we have such a intertwined, there's so that leads to pressure sometimes.
Mhm.
I don't feel pressure at all right now, but yet, I know that a lot of people do whenever they feel like they have to participate in something that they may be unsure about, or they may be sure that they don't want to participate in it, but they have to do it anyway. And it's like, okay, let's just, if we're called, then be present and just let go.
Mhm. That reminds me a lot also of like in this certain time of the year in December when the holidays come around and you feeling, I see a lot of this happen in like loved ones around me, especially when I come back home, like everybody feeling like they have to make everything, a holiday party come up, or I don't know, a white Santa party come up, or you have to give everybody a present. And so a lot of times I like to try and remind myself as well and everyone, it's not about the gift, the physical gift, but it's like you said, being present, the experience, being there for that person, but not necessarily having to make everything, and especially if you're not doing well or if you're not in that certain state of mind at that moment. I think that's so important to remember around specifically this month. People can
Yes.
get so caught up in all of that.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
that's a
agree.
good point. Yeah, yeah. And I think that's something that throughout the month we need to really take in consideration and be and share in that awareness with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just be in the moment, that those expectation, that gift giving. We did was that last month or the month before, intention, where we went through our love languages.
Oh, nice.
That was good. Yeah.
And it was such an aha moment how gift giving was at the bottom of mine. I didn't care at all. And Christine, to your point, there have been many years that Christmas I can't stand it, and I can't stand it because of the gifts.
Because of the gifts.
Yeah, if it's for the children, great. For adults giving gifts, I sit around, give each other gift cards. What's the point? Yeah, like it's yeah, it does cause stress and those old triggers. It means something from childhood. I don't know what, but yeah.
Mhm. It's almost like superficial, and then you feel bad, and then you have this pressure. Oh, did I need to give them something? It's just this vicious cycle. Yeah.
And takes you out of the moment of just
Yeah,
being and sharing,
exactly.
sharing energy and love instead of a gift. Yeah.
Exactly. Hmm.
Yeah.
So that goes back to even a few more previous ones, and communicate. Let's just communicate that, get better at communicating what our love languages are, what our needs are, what our expectations are, what our perception of our expectations are.
Hmm.
And the more we can do that, I think really we'll all feel so much better. Take a load off, put your
Yeah.
feet up.
Take a lot of pressure off. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So throughout this entire month, from our perception to our perspective, let's make it a wonderful holiday season. We've set our intention. We'll check in with each other continuously and share a lot along this journey too. So a little plug for the full moon in 2 weeks. It will be, of course, the topic is perception, but we're doing vision boards, and we're also doing a tarot gift swap. We're having Tarot 101, someone teaching just the basics of what that means. And it is intuition and perception of what these cards mean. And in the gift of giving, that's what we're going to do. Wrap up, whether it's an old set, an old deck, something you buy used, it doesn't matter. Just a gift that you're going to give, whether it is an oracle deck or a tarot deck. And we share that. So for all of those in Atlanta, We will share the details of location and time, and that will come up soon, but keep that in mind.
Perfect.
All right. Does everyone
That's
feel comfortable with their intentions?
Yes.
Yes. Kim, when did you say that was again, the Oracle swap, the 21st?
It is December 21st, and that is winter solstice.
Okay. Perfect.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, so it'll be 7 p.m. Eastern, and yes. So
Looking
thank
forward to
you.
it.
Thank
Thank
all
you.
of you. It's a wonderful, wonderful topic. This is going to be a fun month.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And as we share this energy together, we respect and
Please.
honor the power of each and every one of you.
Over here.
There
There
we
you
go.
go.
There's that fire.
All
Yes.
right. Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Love
Nice
you
to meet
all.
you. Love you too.
Nice to
Yes.
meet you, Kathy. I hope to meet you in
Yeah.
person in Costa Rica. Or here in
Yeah.
Atlanta as well.
Well, I was going to say I plan to be in both places, so I'm sticky about my travel too.
Great.
All right.
I enjoyed the call. Thank you, Kim.
Happy new moon.
You
Happy
too.
New Moon.
Bye.
Bye.